I'm 27F and my boyfriend Ryan, 28M, and I have been together for 3 years. We met at a coffee shop job, bonded over shared shifts where we'd sneak breaks to chat about movies or weekend plans, and things got serious with little getaways like camping trips and eventually meeting each other's families over casual dinners. He's always been a bit insecure, like downplaying his office job during parties or exaggerating stories to sound more interesting in group settings, but I thought it was just harmless quirks from a shy side. I'm Korean American, with parents who immigrated in the 90s and raised me on homemade kimchi, K-dramas on family nights, and stories about their hometown. And I've shared all that openly with him, even cooking bulgogi for our anniversaries. A month ago, he confessed that back in high school, he told his friends I was Japanese to impress them, saying stuff like I grew up in Tokyo, spoke fluent Japanese, and had cool traditions like cherry blossom viewings, because he thought it made him seem worldly and less ordinary. It started as a dumb lie when they teased him for being single and dateless to events, and it snowballed online with him posting altered pics of us at sushi dates, implying that's my background, complete with captions about her family's recipes from Japan. Now his 10-year reunion is coming up at a local bar, and he begged me to play along, wear a kimono-inspired dress from his online shopping cart, say a few Japanese phrases he looked up on apps, and back his stories, to avoid the embarrassment of admitting the truth. I said no way, that it's weird and disrespectful to fake heritage, especially since I'm proud of my Korean roots and don't want to erase them for his ego. He got upset, saying it'd just be for one night, and if I loved him, I'd help save face like he does for me. But when I stood firm, he threatened to break up, claiming I don't support him in his vulnerabilities. My best friend says he's being ridiculous and I should let him face the music alone, but part of me feels guilty for not compromising on something he sees as small. Am I in the wrong for telling my boyfriend no when he begged me to fake being Japanese for his old high school friend's reunion because he lied about my heritage, and now he's threatening to break up if I don't play along? Or am I being too stubborn and risking our relationship over pride? Update 1. I was still firm on not faking Japanese heritage for Ryan's reunion after he admitted lying to his high school friends about me being from Tokyo with stuff like made-up stories of family trips there, and even claiming I taught him basic phrases, which clash with my actual Korean American background that I've always been open about through things like sharing holiday traditions with him. And his begging turned into breakup threats when I refused to play along with phrases or outfits. The argument heated up a couple nights later in our apartment over takeout, escalating things but not changing my mind, leaving us in a standoff as we cleaned up in tense silence. We were eating sushi, ironically enough, which he ordered thinking it'd soften me up and tie into his narrative, when he brought it up again, explaining how in high school his friends bully him for being the boring one without cool stories or exciting dates. So, he invented this exotic girlfriend narrative years ago to fit in, complete with a fake detail about me winning a karate tournament as a kid. And now with a reunion at a local bar full of those same people, he panicked about them, finding out it was all fake and laughing him off. I pointed out how lying about my culture felt wrong and erasing, reminding him of times I'd shared real Korean traditions like Chuseok celebrations with mooncakes and family gatherings that he'd joined happily, and asked why he couldn't just come clean to show how much he's grown since then. He defended it by saying it'd humiliate him in front of people he hadn't seen in a decade. That one night of me nodding along to his tales or even greeting them with a simple konnichiwa wouldn't hurt anyone, and if I didn't, it'd prove I didn't have his back in tough spots like he did for me during my job switch last year when he helped with resumes. I pushed back, saying authenticity matters more, and faking it could backfire if someone asked real questions about customs I don't know, like tea ceremonies, but he got teary, claiming our relationship was on the line because he couldn't face the mockery alone without me as his wingwoman, and stormed out to crash at a friend's place for the night, slamming the door. The next day, scrolling social media while sipping coffee alone, I saw he'd posted an old pic of us with a caption hinting at cultural adventures ahead, which made me madder and more resolved. My sister thinks he's immature and I should go to the reunion as myself to force the truth out in the open, but his threats sting, making me wonder if this is a deal breaker or if I'm overreacting to his past hang-ups. Should I cave for the sake of us and just endure the night or hold my ground even if it ends things and leaves me starting over? Update 2. The apartment argument over takeout, where Ryan pushed me to fake being Japanese to cover his high school lies about my heritage, like claiming I spoke the language, had family in Japan, and even that I collected manga as a hobby, ignoring my Korean roots, ramped up with his breakup threats if I didn't help at the reunion, leaving us barely talking as the event neared with him sending passive texts about logistics. I decided to go with him anyway, showing up as my real self in a simple dress, and the night unfolded in ways that exposed everything, turning awkward fast, but revealing more about his insecurities as conversations spiraled. We arrived at the bar venue, music blasting with old yearbook photos on screens and balloons in school colors, and his friends greeted us warmly, some recognizing me from his posts, but looking confused when I introduced myself with my actual background, mentioning Korean food spots like my favorite bibimbap place instead of sushi or ramen. Ryan tried steering conversations, awkwardly saying things like how we'd visited Asian spots, without specifics and quickly changing topics when someone asked about my Tokyo upbringing. But one friend pulled him aside after a group toast, admitting they'd known for years it was a lie because they'd stalked my socials showing Korean family events, like pics from my cousin's wedding with traditional hanboks, and even a post about my parents' immigration story from Seoul. It turns out his bullying was mild teasing he blew up in his head, like jokes about his plane lunches, and they'd grown up, with one laughing that they thought it was just his way of hyping a new relationship without realizing he kept it going. Ryan freaked out quietly, whispering to me in the corner by the appetizer table that I should have backed him to save face, saying now they see him as pathetic. But I reminded him this was his mess from not being honest from the start. And as more people chatted with me genuinely about my real heritage, asking curious questions about K-pop influences, he sulked at the bar nursing a drink. Later, in the car ride home with traffic crawling, he vented that my refusal humiliated him worse, saying our friends now see him as a liar who can't even keep a story straight, and threatened again to end things if I didn't apologize for not playing along and making it about my principles. The irony hit when a friend texted me support later that night, saying Ryan's stories were always over the top and they admired my honesty, which only fueled his frustration. Tension built as I packed a bag for some space at my sister's. Can we salvage this with more talks? Or is his refusal to own up too much to overlook? Update 3. The reunion night where I showed up as my Korean American self, despite Ryan's pleas to fake Japanese heritage to hide his old lies about me, like photoshopped pics he'd shared of us at Tokyo landmarks that were actually local parks, and even a made-up anecdote about my samurai ancestry, led to his friends casually revealing they knew the truth from my profiles, exposing his exaggerations, and sparking his meltdown in the car with more breakup threats that echoed through our strained texts afterward. Over the next few weeks, things unraveled completely as we tried talking it out but hit dead ends, forcing me to make tough choices amid packing boxes and late-night reflections. We met at a park bench for what was supposed to be a calm discussion on a sunny afternoon, but he kept blaming me for the embarrassment, saying if I'd just gone along with simple nods or a few phrases like he'd scripted, his friends wouldn't have laughed behind his back or sent him pitying messages later, and admitted the lies started from feeling invisible in high school, photoshopping those images to seem exciting online, and even creating a fake family tree graphic he shared in their group chat years ago. I explained how it disrespected my identity and our trust, sharing how it reminded me of times I'd faced microaggressions about being Asian American, like coworkers mixing up cultures, and suggested therapy to work on his insecurities together. But he shut down, saying I was making it about me and turning his harmless fibs into a big deal, and that without my support in keeping up appearances, we were done for good. He moved out that weekend, taking his stuff like the gaming console we'd bought together and the coffee maker from our first apartment, and blocked me on socials after a final call where he accused me of being unsupportive. The split hurt at first, with lonely nights questioning if I was too rigid or could have compromised, but friends rallied around me, introducing me to a new group where I could be fully myself without pretense, and I even started a blog about cultural identity that gained some followers sharing similar stories. Ryan's friends reached out apologizing for not calling him out sooner, saying he's isolated now, facing the fallout alone with regrets piling up, while I've grown more confident, dating casually with people who appreciate the real me, focusing on my roots through things like Korean cooking classes, and realizing I deserve a partner who celebrates authenticity without needing lies to feel secure.